Bom dia. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And I want to start by thanking everyone who's here, everyone who's there, and everyone who made possible for me to be here in beautiful Prague, especially Martina from TFI, shout out, that received 2,000 emails once my hometown was flooded and we had no longer an airport, and she had to figure out how to bring me here. So Martina, wherever you are my guardian angel. Thank you so much. I want to tell you today about informality. And I would start saying that every day I pose to myself that question, Laura, would you rather be happy or be right? For a long time, I chose to be right. And 10 years ago, I was a civil servant in the Ministry of Health in Brazil. And I was so adamant about being right. I had so much energy to fight all the fights needed. And let me tell you, I fought them. I was so angry at anyone in the academia or the civil society that got in my way. And after many years of failures and some small victories, I'm a Scorpio, so I savored a lot of vengeance. I completely realized that I was alone, and it was very hard to sustain that place as a civil servant, even among colleagues in the government. Ironically, during that time, I was exposed to my first workshop on evidence-informed policymaker. I was a participant in this workshop, and I really disliked it. And I came back, my boss asked, so do you think this is useful for us? And I said, sorry for my Latin, no, this is crap. The irony, right? And here I am speaking about evidence-informed policymaking. So one day, after a lot of suffering in the government, I decided not to be right anymore. I decided to be happy. I resigned from my civil servant post and decided to dedicate my working hours to keep another colleagues from the civil service working, to help them sustain their positions, because I understood in my skin how lonely they were, how important civil service is, and how much they need outside people's support. So when we created the organization I work for, we identified ourselves as knowledge intermediaries. But let me tell you, I started my knowledge intermediary career in a bar table. I'm not lying. And while drinking some beers and having conversations with fellow civil service colleagues, I literally offer my shoulder to them to cry just by asking them, how can I help you unburden? This is it. This is how I started my path in evidence-informed policymaking. So, no formal meetings, no capacity building activities. Nothing I ever participated after that had the same effect at these bar tables conversations. And of course, you know, I can't have beers with everyone in the government because it would be too expensive. And also will pose a great risk for chronic disease. But I try and replicate this kind of lightness of a night in a bar, chatting with friends. And I know many Brazilian colleagues also do this whenever they are trying to promote evidence-informed policymaking and evidence use in decision-making. Because you see, we chose to be happy and not to be right. We simply don't take ourselves too seriously. And this is so great. It's like freeing. So what I'm here to tell you today is that I really, truly believe there are two pillars. They are not the only ones, but they are my favorite ones that sustain evidence use in Brazil, my country. And those pillars are informality and empathy. Informality is a word that causes mixed reactions. Some people may say it has a bad rap, both in science and in policy making. And I personally wholeheartedly disagree. I perceive as big threats over-promising and trying to conceal our biases. But informality for me is just a way you choose to communicate. And for every door that this choice has closed in my face, I can tell you the tale of 10 doors that open because I chose to be informal. So we created the Instituto Veredas, this organization I work in 2016. And when we created it, we had a self-destruction plan. The idea behind it is if we are super successful, in some years' time, we are no longer needed. It doesn't seem very smart as a business idea, but let me tell you, it seems to be doing okay. I call this, whenever I'm speaking about our experience, as a radical collaboration approach, in the sense that whatever I learn, I try to give to other people. We help as many organizations in Brazil as possible to establish their evidence centers. And we really try and diversify who are the faces that are working in this evidence-informed policy field. So it's not the same white, privileged, health, pathway, brat, such as myself. Sorry, the mobile keeps changing ways. But most of all, and I think this is quite important, we try and collaborate. And in 2021, some similar organizations and us, we gathered to create the Brazilian Coalition for Evidence. And everyone always asks me, like, oh, how did you create the Brazilian Coalition for Evidence? And I say, it's so basic. The premise is we meet monthly, we try and work together as much as possible, we try to not duplicate efforts, and most of all, we are just there, caring and cheering for each other. This is really the base of everything. And today, my great, great anguish, speaking to you, is that the more success we have, the more opportunities we have, the more we grow as a field, the less availability we have to care. And this pains me so, so much. And I know very busy people completely understand what I'm saying here. I don't desire on my worst enemy, and as you know, I'm a Scorpio, so I have like a vengeance plan always in the back of my mind, but I don't desire on my worst enemy the life of sustaining an organization on one-year projects. And I have to tell you, if there's anyone paying for evidence work here and paying for knowledge intermediation work here, please, I beg you, just allow us time and resource to care. This is so front and center for me. I've met so many great people. I'm always very happy to be part of this community here. You always see a friendly face. You have like brain power to light a whole city around these chairs. But I have to tell you, and Andali was talking about this yesterday, one of the most insightful people I ever met is actually my grandmother. She's no longer with us, but she left plenty of lessons to share. And I want to end my speech today just telling you some lessons my grandmother told me. She really loved flowers, and she had like a garden of her own. And she taught me many lessons on how to keep violets and roses alive. I can keep a flower alive for the life of me, but I try and garden an evidence community every day. And let me tell you, the lessons she taught me about gardening, they really apply to my day-to-day work today. The first one is, she said, daughter, you won't get anywhere if you're not willing to get your hands dirty. This means that you have to get to the root of the problems, you have to understand what is needed, and simply put, you have to do it. You know, right now I'm on this stage feeling like a rock star, but tomorrow I'll be screening 1,000 articles. You better believe this. And if you not have hands always available to get dirty and to help, probably you won't be able to be part of this beautiful community in the most prolific way. The second gardening tip is we need to build a fertile soil for evidence use. This means putting the feet on the ground. This means having conversations with people who are producing evidence, producing policy, and producing life. All of these perspectives, they are so important. So hear them out, build the soil that is mostly fed by trust, and be near, be flexible. Then again, I think being a Scorpio is a major factor here, but try and not hold grudges. This is quite important. Then, well, in this topic, we also need to learn how to make compost out of trash. So projects end, partners are cut short abruptly, governments, they change every year, how you were saying, and all around can change. Power is sometimes a very nasty thing to be near. You will get screwed, you will get frustrated, that's life, right? So how can we make sure that everything is not lost? How can we keep relationships and lessons going? How can we use this as a fertilizer for next endeavors? This is a very important gardening tip. And the other one is spread seeds. You never know which of the seeds will bloom, right? So when in Brazil, the executive government was completely against science, we went to work with the legislative and judiciary branches, and we found so many great surprises there. Many people who started in the health sector are now pollinizing different policies in my country. Follow these beautiful seeds, help them achieve their potential. This is quite amazing to see, to witness. Gardening, it requires many tools, but usually the most important is just understanding what that little bud needs and understanding its circumstances and just being responsive to it. You can have like the most amazing evidence in hand. If it's not needed, don't push it. Save it for later. The worst thing you can do to a flower is to put too much water in it. And well, finally, there are seasons to everything. So new technology, new wording. I get often tired to rebrand, to repackage the way we are doing the work, to make it more appealing to funders or to governments. But seasons, they are like that. You see, we are in summer and it sure seems like winter. Yeah. So one thing that I think is quite important in these changing seasons is coming back to your roots. And I always come to the roots of collaboration. I always come to the roots of informality. And I will come to the roots of empathy. This is quite important. My grandmother, she was very observant of her flowers, and she knew when to wait and when to act. As many said before me in this beautiful event, it is springtime for evidence-informed policy making. So many beautiful initiatives are blooming. There is so much room to joining efforts. It is time to act, but most of all, it's time to care for each other. I thank you so much for your patience, for hearing me, for hearing us and coming early today to share this. I hope you are all prepared for the dance floor. I would love to keep this conversation going. You can meet me today in the World Evidence-Based Healthcare Day booth. You can meet me at 11 a.m. also in the lovely session on how to make 2024 a step change year for evidence-informed policymaking in Hall D9. Or tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll be launching the WHO Global Coalition for Evidence. I'm very excited about that in Hall CE. Please come. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's be informal together and If not, I'll see you on the dance floor.